I'm Julia from Blue Sky Ranch in the Nicola Valley, and I'm going to demonstrate a Gallagher Tumble Wheel system for you today. This is a really handy system, particularly for strip grazing or frequent pasture moves when you're working with cattle. It makes it really easy to move your pasture with just one person. You can see here, you've got these legs and this plate. This plate here is what electrifies the system. So when these two legs are on the ground, the plate isn't touching, and so they're not electrified. These ones are. As the tumble wheel moves, the plate moves, de-electrifying the bottom legs. So to set this up, we run a hot wire where we want to have our line, and then we simply feed it through the tube, locking it on the ends. Just like that. So it's really easy to move. You just pull it along and it comes with you. And then just hook it up to your hot wire and you're good to go. So because the plate is what makes it hot, you can see the plate's not touching these two bottom legs. So if you do need to move it for some reason, just grab the two bottom legs, don't touch anything else, and you can move that really easily. To disassemble, just reverse the process of assembling it. Slide the wire out of the clips, out of the hub, and you're free.
Like with any rotational grazing system, you're giving access to new forage, either daily, every 3 days, twice a day, however often your frequency is, but you also need to have a system to prevent regrazing of the regrowth as it comes in behind the cattle. So the tumble wheel, oftentimes we're going to be using that as the front fence ahead of the cattle and giving them access to new forage with that fence. But you may want to consider if your whole pasture is pretty long and they'll be moving forward for a week or more, and you're going to start to see regrowth and recovery in the paddocks behind the cattle, before they start to go back and regraze that regrowth, you're going to want to set up a back fence behind them. So you may be able to use the tumble wheels to increase the frequency of your moves, even out your nutritional plane, move the cattle twice a day or daily, and you could have a back fence that maybe you only move once every 3 days or once a week to prevent regrowth, depending on how fast your forage recovery is in your environment. On that side of this tumble wheel fence, we have a regular geared reel that has this poly wire on it. But when you're moving the tumble wheels down the field, you tend to go in kind of a zigzag pattern. So you move one side one day or one in the morning maybe, and then you move the other side in the evening. So you're basically, your paddocks are going to be kind of triangular, right? And what that means is that the length of the fence is changing with each set. So we find it really helpful to put a reel on the opposite side of the fence, where the hook would typically be. So we'll use a standard non-geared reel, just any kind of cheap reel that you can use for the other side. And then that way, as you pull the fence along and it needs to get shorter or longer to change the location of the fence, you can take up or let out wire from either side. So that's an important thing that makes the tumble wheel function. Unless you're using it from a central point. So occasionally we'll have a field where we have a hydro pole in the middle, let's say, and then we can actually attach the hook end of the reel to the hydro pole, and we can go around and graze it in sort of a wagon wheel pattern. But in most rectangular paddocks, you're going to want a reel on each side. It's also important to consider, as I mentioned, ideally you have a permanent fence on each side, just for that strength to be able to really pull on it and keep the tumble wheels vertical. But in this case, we're building it off of a temporary fence on one side. And so I just added in a couple of extra braces. You know, it's not pretty, but it's working. If you had a T-post or something like that, you could drive this in, but this is giving us enough strength that we can really pull on this line without it pulling those temporary posts right out of the ground.